Hey guys, in this video we're going to show you how to swap out an old pendant with a new chandelier lighting fixture. So first things first, when you're going to swap out a lighting fixture, you're going to need to turn off the breaker. So I'm going to get Sarah to help me out with that. Sarah! Alright, so Sarah just turned off the breaker, I think, and we're going to go ahead and just take off this old lighting fixture. Alright. Now when you're dealing with older light fixtures, sometimes things can be different. In this particular case, there was no ground wire, and there was just a supply line and a neutral wire. And they were just secured with old school wire nuts. So I just undid them and unscrewed this mechanism that was attached to the brace in the ceiling box. Now I'm going to put this aside and give it to Sarah. I might be able to use it for some decor situation in the future, who knows. So as I said earlier, there was just two wires when I detached the old lighting fixture, a supply line and a neutral wire. Looks like I'm going to have to break away some of this plaster to expose the two screws to put in my brace plate. And I'll probably have to unscrew this guy that was originally securing the old pendant lighting fixture. First I'm going to go ahead and remove this center brace piece that was holding the old pendant. I'm just going to screw it out. So I've got some channel locks and we're just going to twist that guy right out. Alright, now adjustable wrench will probably work just as well. Next I'm going to grab an old screwdriver that I'm going to use as a chisel, and we're going to try to identify where the screws are that are going to hold our bracket. So I see a screw right here, but right now it's encased in drywall plaster. So we're just going to give it a few taps and tap around that area just to expose the screws. So I'm taking these old screws out. They weren't used in holding the old lighting fixture, but we're going to need to put on a brace and use new screws where these old screws used to be. So I'm going to remove these so we can use these for the other fixture. I also need to add a ground wire because this box isn't ground, but I'm just going to grab about 6-inch length of green insulated copper wire, and we'll just add a ground screw right into the box. You can find the green insulated copper wire at any hardware store, and I think it's like 69 cents a foot. So you can just buy it by the feet, and you'll be all set. You can also buy them in the pre-made kits that come with your green screw, but you're just gonna waste your money on that. So go ahead and get the screws separate and buy some length of wire. You'll save some money. All right, so let's get that taken care of. So even though we turned the breaker off, I always double check make sure that there's no current with a voltmeter or one of those volt pen meters, just to be on the safe side, if you know what I mean. Because there's a lot of current that can run through these if it's a live wire. I'm just kidding. All right, so we turn the voltmeter on. The black is gonna be your ground, so I'll just touch our metal box and then we'll touch each wire. No current, so we're good to go. So we have our green insulated copper wire. I bought like 12 feet, and we're only going to need about 6 inches for this. I'm going to use my electrical pliers by Klein Tools to go ahead and just cut this. Probably about 7 inches or so. Doesn't need to be perfect. It's going to be just enough for you to put a screw on the end, attached to the back of the wire so that you can then connect it to the light fixture and ground the light fixture itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose both ends, and then I'm just going to curl one end where I'm going to put the screw at that's going to go into the box itself. Okay, so I went ahead and I put the screw around the copper wire, and I just tightened it so it's going to stay in place. Now I didn't tighten it too tight because I want it to spin still when I'm putting it into the box. Now I'm looking at this box and I don't see any pre-drilled holes, so I got a self-tapping screw that's hopefully going to go through the back of this box. We're gonna find out. So I'm gonna grab my drill, and I went to my ratchet set and got the appropriate size to fit the head of my screw. And I also got an adapter that's gonna go onto the drill itself. So let's see if this thing goes in. Boom, got it. Okay, so I opened up the lighting fixture that we're gonna be working with. And every time you do a different fixture, you just kind of figure it out as you go. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Now, I'm looking for the brace that's gonna go attached to the box. So I'm just taking off the nut that's here, and it's gonna unscrew like so. Now you'll notice that there is a ground screw in the bracket itself. A lot of your nicer fixtures are going to have something like that. I just naturally ground to the box if it's a metal box. Now a lot of the new homes you're going to see plastic boxes, or if you're outside an urban center, you know, you have a less strict code, so you have to put a plastic box. So then you'll tie into your metal brace, which is going to be the same thing as grounding it. So I'm going to put this stuff aside, and I'm just going to tighten down this ground screw because we're not going to need it since we're using this right here. And then I'm just going to need to get 2 screws that are going to go into the box itself. So I could use the old screws, but I think I'm going to try to find some new screws that I have in my toolbox somewhere, and if I don't find them, I'll just reuse the old screws. Okay, so the lighting fixture we got from build.com actually came with the screws we need. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach your I'm going to just call it a bracing bar to the box, to our old box. Let's see how that turns out. Okay, so when I chiseled out the plaster, I exposed these 2 screw holes. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take the bracket and I'm going to attach the bracket to those 2 holes. All right, I'll get it started with my hands, and then I'll just use my screwdriver for the rest of it. All right, and that's going to hold our chandelier. So there's a few different pieces to this mounting assembly. So first I'm going to screw this into the mounting bracket, and I'm going to put the nut right behind it to put it so we can lock it in place. All right, and now I'm going to need a few minutes to kind of put this light together.
Higher, down like a ½ inch. Lower, stop, that's good. No, actually.
Now that my beautiful wife and source of all happiness, Sarah, has determined a proper height for this lighting fixture, I'm going to have to cut this chain down a little bit. So we're going to go to about 20 inches. Since the chandelier is about 15 inches, that leaves us about 5 inches in chain. And since each link is about 1 inch, I'm just going to do 5 links. So there are 2 quick connect links on each end of the chain that was provided. I'm going to take those off because you want to use those. Those are how we're going to hang the chandelier to the brackets. And then I just need 3 links. I'm going to set these quick connects down over here. I'm going to grab my Lyman pliers from Klein, and we're going to break the 4th link. And I'm just going to bend like so. All right. 3 links. And then I'm going to take my 2 quick connect links, boom, on each end. So now we have our proper height where this is going to hang. And I'm going to run the wire through here. All right, so we're going to connect the quick connect to the top of the chandelier here, like so. And then we're going to weave the wire through the links. All right, now we got all this access wiring that we don't necessarily need. I'm going to leave about 8 inches. 12, just to be on the safe side. So I use my wire strippers just to expose the ends of these, and I'm just going to give them a twist so that they can connect to our wires in the ceiling. And of course, that's our ground. So 3 wires from the lighting fixture, 3 wires from the ceiling. All right, moving up. Crystals are going to hang down too. Oh, crystals are going to hang. Remember, how big are those crystals?
I think all the crystals are pretty long.
So now that my beautiful wife, business partner, and source of all happiness has determined a proper height for the chandelier, we don't really need to use any chain link length. We're going to just use these quick connects. This chain comes with 2 quick disconnects links. So you would just put one on each end, one to attach to the top of the chandelier and one to attach to the actual fixture itself. Now before we hang the chandelier, we have to run our wire through the cylinder that's connected to the support bracket. I installed it prematurely, so I'm just going to take it off real quick. It'll make running the wire a little bit easier. We're just going to go through the center of the bracket and pull those wires through. Great. Now we just need to connect the power. So I'm gonna push these through on the same side as these so that when we tuck our wires in, they won't be underneath the bar. Yeah. So I'm just gonna attach one wire to each wire, your neutral and your supply. I'll grab our wire nuts and make sure they're nice and tight. And we'll take our ground and drop that wire nut. Make sure you drop it really hard. Let's try this again. Okay, so now that everything's connected, I want to go ahead and just test the power, make sure everything's working properly before we tuck in all of our wires into the box. So I'm just going to put one LED bulb in right now. So what that means is basically I'm able to tuck in all the wires into the box, clean everything up, and then we'll be able to put on our crystals, which is going to make this thing look like a beautiful chandelier. Go ahead and hit that switch back. Why mess with these wires? Right, now that the light is installed and it's working properly, now it's time to really make it beautiful and put all of these crystals on. How many crystals do we have to put on, honey? A lot. Let's do this. And that's it, you guys. We're all done with our chandelier. If you're interested in the make and model, just look at the show notes below and we'll give you that information that we got from build.com. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are going to start giving some giveaways away, so there's going to be some free products and other things that we're going to be offering in the near future. Thanks for tuning in.
That's perfect.